In this section of the dashboard course, we are going to look at how to create resume or CV dashboard in Power BI. The objective is this: create a one-page resume dashboard that will show your visualization and analytical skills. You can either use your own dataset or use our sample dataset prepared for this challenge. I am not going to go through everything we have right here because I'm going to be providing you a link to actually click and come to this particular website and get data, right. So we are analyzing data for 2022 November. And if I scroll down, you can see more of the data set they have for you. So right here, we have data set from January 2021 down to December 2022. So after working with this right now, you have the privilege to actually grab more data and see how you can practice your data visualization skill. So now if I go here, so what we have is more explanation about the data set they have right here for you. So scrolling down is the data dictionary to explain to you what the data is all about. And all you have to do is to click on download dataset right here, and it's going to take you to another page where you can fill in your email, and it will definitely allow you to have it downloaded. So fill the name and your email right here and click on click on download, and it is yours. So let us look at the dataset we're going to be using for this. So here's the data we're going to be using for this. So we have personal information, education, we have experience, and we have link. So with this, we'll be able to actually create a dashboard that looks just like this right now on our Power BI, desktop. From the data set you have just seen previously, we were able to actually carve this particular dashboard to show our analytics skills to the world. How do we do that? Let's see the functionality of this dashboard and how amazing it is and how you can actually follow along to create yours just like this. Now, first of all, we have skills when we actually create a resume or CVs. We have interests, we have language, so we have work experience, and now we have tools. So if you look at this, those are the tools we've learned, like Excel, Power BI, and others. And on the skill aspect is data visualization, data analysis, business knowledge, and others. And on the interest aspect, it depends on what you're interested in, as an individual. We have tech, reading, and gaming. And in the language aspect, English and other two languages that are local. So now what is actually very important is when we come to the portfolio aspect, we'll be able to some kind of hover over it and see more, big view of it. And if we come to the educational part right here, we want to see what are the certificate have we earned on our education, like SQL BI. When we actually, did the course, let's see what certificate it is. By hovering over it right now, it gives you a certificate. And if you are to give this to some prospective employers, you will be able to stand out when it comes to job hunting. So coming to this particular, Maven right here, I've taken advanced SQL data analysis, right, with them, and I have the certificate as well. Interesting, right? So what about the work experience by company? So when I hover over, 2018 or 2008 rather, so what I have right now is more information about 2008. The company is Philips INT, position is cashier, and you have the job description. The same thing if I hover over this particular one right here, it gives you more information about what I've done with the company, what was my position, and all of that. As a data analyst, what is the job description like, and all of that. So how can you create something like this? It doesn't really stop there. I went ahead to link my portfolio right here. So all I need to do right now is just to click on this particular part, and straight up is going to actually open this for us. Can you see? This is where I have my portfolio right in. So if I scroll all the way down, you can see more of my works. That makes me to stand out from the rest of the people that apply for the same job. So how can you create a dashboard like this? Now let me take you to Power BI Desktop to see how we can navigate on the same thing. So right now we are on Power BI Desktop where the development happened. All you have to do if you want to follow this link right now to go to LinkedIn is to hold the control and click it. Can you see that? When I hold the control key on my keyboard, because we're on Power BI desktop, it will definitely open my LinkedIn, profile for me. So my LinkedIn profile actually sync with what? With my CV or my resume. And that is beautiful, right? So how can we build something? All right, now go ahead and open your Power BI. Now we have in your blank Power BI right here. All we have to do is to get data. Click on get data. So those are different sources to get data from. If the one you're looking for is not right here, click on more and it's going to load more sources for you. So we are going to actually connect to Excel workbook. So if I click on that right now, here we go. So this is the one I have downloaded from the website, and this is the one I actually have, that is my personal data. I am going to connect to this. So before it finishes loading, let us go right to this particular website. So if you look at this particular part right here, it says you can use your own personal data set if you feel like. And if you're trying to use this particular data set right here, all you have to do is to download the one that says November 2022. Just click on it. It's going to take you to where you can have it downloaded nicely. All right, now here we go. You can actually click on it to preview what we have inside every single table existing inside this particular workbook. And for you to have these ones here active, you have to make sure you check all of them. Just check them, and there you go. So we don't want to load this right now because we are not really sure if this is clean, so we have to make sure we transform data. So it's going to take us to Power Query right now. It's a different engine from Power BI itself. So here we use M code, but we're not going to write any M code right here, but just let's see what it is. So now what we have here open that made this one to be like this is actually go to view. And if I uncheck this, is what you have. So if you click on column quality, you have this. So the reason why we always have to click on this when we load our data is because let's say we have millions of rows of data. You can't see it all just the way you're seeing this all right now. So you would want to know if there's any problem or any issue with any of the cells or of the rows and columns. So right now this is almost 100%, but not 100%. So the header is not really correct, so we have to change it. I'm going to take this off. So I'm going to move this column 1 and 2 and make sure I have this one and this one right. So go to home, click on use first row as header. That is beautiful. If I go to experience right now, let's see, everything on the experience part right here is cool. And if I go to links, not really cool. So the link has no header at all. So we have to create for it. Okay, I'm going to actually just double click and just type channel. So come right here, I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to type in links, and that will just help me to do that. So the next thing is for me to click on personal information right here. And from personal information, I want to actually show you what I'm talking about when I talk about you using the view and column quality. So it gives you the quality of this column is 100% because there is no empty, null, or unwanted character. Coming to this particular aspect right now, it gives us 67% valid and 33% empty or null, wherever it is. So we don't need to actually have this field because this is actually giving us the years of experience. So we don't have years of experience for for the language and as well the interest. So we have to leave it like that, blank, which means everything right here is correct. So this is the first step we need to take. So and after this, we can actually, just go ahead and click on home and close and apply. Then this would definitely load this to Power BI environment where we can start our development. Now we have our data right here. The thing is this, the data has just, little use for now, so not much use for this data because we would have to create a custom column just to make sure this particular part of the data has some kind of use for us. How do we go about this? So I'm going to click right here. Right now, let me just have this one collapse. So here we go. We can go ahead and click on transform data. Where are we going? We are going back to Power Query, and that is beautiful. When I got my data for the first time, what I actually was thinking about is that how am I going to actually get this visualized? So it doesn't really make any sense to me. I was thinking. And after all, I arrived at me, rating myself in terms of tools. Can you see? We see tools start from here and ended here. So we have skill. I rated myself based on skills. I rated myself based on languages. I rated myself based on interests. So I did that. But excuse me, how did you do it? I am going to show you. So let's do it. Now to get started, you have to go to column, add column. So inside add column, go to conditional column. So you click on conditional column. So it's going to give you this. So right here, what we can, type in, make sure you move it away from here and have it like this so that you can see what you have right in here. And still, you can move it down a little bit to see where your tools end. If I cover it up to this particular aspect right now, my tools end in Excel. So I want to actually rate myself with Excel, how much I know about Power BI, Desktop, Service, Tableau, and WordPress and all this. So right now, what I'm going to do right now is just to hold it this way. And I'm going to have to, first of all, give my column a name. So I'm going to say tools and skills ratings. Rating. So now the next thing is under the if condition here. So this is actually a descriptor. I'm going to select descriptor here. I want to say if the descriptor is equal to Power BI Desktop. So desktop. So I want to rate myself from 100% below. So how much do I think I know Power BI Desktop compared to other tools itself? Now, right now, Power BI Desktop, I'm going to rate myself like 70%, and you put your 70% right in here. Beautiful. So you add on that clause, go for descriptor, and where it is equal to, do not change this, leave it the way it is on that equal to. And this time around, it's going to be equal to Power BI what? It's going to be equal to Power BI, service. So make sure it's correct, else you wouldn't actually have it the way it should be. So now I'm going to rate myself 40% right here. So 40%. And the next one is for me to add and go for Tableau. So for Tableau here, type it up. So for Tableau Desktop, so I'm going to rate myself for Tableau Desktop just 10%. I'm not good at Tableau Desktop. I'm just learning it and stuff like that. So I rate myself just 10%. That will definitely help me to create the kind of chart I want to create, to have this visualized. And whoever is looking at this, without the person even clicking on it, we can enter a new clause and select the same this. And we just have to type in WordPress and we have to rate it as well. So from 0% to 100, I'm going to rate myself 45%, in WordPress. And I'm going to actually enter another one, descriptor. So the next one after WordPress is actually SQL. So or SQL, just actually I'm going to rate myself 35 to 38% right here. So don't forget to add a percentage, right? So now we add another one, select the descriptor. So it's actually now Adobe Premiere Pro. And on Adobe Premiere Pro, I'm going to rate myself just 20%. So next is actually Microsoft Excel right here after Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm going to select that. So you can actually rate it based on what you think your capacity is. You mustn't rate it just the way I'm rating it right now if you're actually using the same data or similar data with me. I'm going to rate this one 82% of 100. That is nice. So now we are just done with tools, well, right here. So this is tools, and we are going to start with skills. So you have to watch this completely for you to understand how I just got this rated, because the rating I'm going to give to tools and skills are different from the ratings I'm going to give to languages and as well interest. So for that, let us take a look at this. So don't always forget to add your percentage. And now I'm going to actually come right here. Now we are rating our skills, descriptor, and what it is actually data analysis. Under data analysis, I'm going to rate myself 60% of 100. So next one is actually adding another descriptor. So we select this and we come right here for data visualization. And for data visualization, I'm going to rate myself 75% of 100. 75% of 100. So we need to add another descriptor again. Select this. So we can actually type it in right here. And we rate for the project management. We are going to actually, give ourselves 20%. And don't always keep any of this particular one, not to add a percentage. So add another descriptor again. So the next one is actually business knowledge. So as you can see, after project management is business knowledge right here. So I'm going to go with business knowledge. I want to give myself 30% out of 100. The next one again is actually video editing. So select the descriptor and come right here and type in your video editing. And I'm going to give myself video editing just 15% right here, 15%. Now that will definitely end our skills. If you look at it, the skills top at video editing. So now we start with the language. So the language right now is actually 3. We have English, Yoruba, and Hausa. So we're actually giving 100% to both 3 languages that I speak. And I'm going to rate myself based on my capacity or my fluency in those languages. So first of all, let us go with English. So you select the descriptor. So for English, I'm going to actually rate myself 55% of 100. So 55% of 100. And now it is time for the second language. Remember, I told you for English, Yoruba, and Hausa, they are actually 100% altogether. But I'm rating myself individually, which one is higher than the other. That is exactly what we are doing right now. So now we get to this, and here is the Yoruba. And we just want to give this one, let us give this one 30%. So I'm going to give it 30%. And the next one is the last one, which is Hausa in the language experts, the descriptor, and you type it in right here. And this one is going to give us just 15%. That will complete it 100%. So if we add 55 plus 30 plus 15, that gives us 100%. That was how we did it. Now let us go down to where we have our interest. So our interest is actually in tech. So select the descriptor right here. So descriptor, and now we're going to say tech. So we're going to under tech, how many percentage should we give to tech right now? Okay, I have much more for tech that I'm going to give it 50% of my time, out of all the interest I have for all I do on a daily basis. So now click on this and we just go right here, the descriptor, and this one is actually, reading. So for reading, I'm going to give reading 39%. 39% of my time. So don't forget the percentage. And the last but not least is actually gaming. Gaming on my computer or on any platform. So I'm going to type in gaming. So gaming. So make sure you actually, write the same thing you have right here. And for gaming, I'm going to give gaming just 11%. So if you add 50 plus 39 plus this one right now is going to give you 100%. That was what I did. So I'm going to actually make sure I click on this. So now it is time to commit this to see what it is that we have. So clicking on it right here. So this is what we have. So we have one null, which means we misspelled something right here. So we have to cross-check if we miss anything. So all you need to do is to come back right here and click on this, and it's going to bring it all the way back for you under business knowledge. So we misspelled something right there. We have to check it out. So let us go to business and scroll all the way down until you get to where you have it. So business knowledge, what is it that we're missing? So I don't seem to find any problems. So I'm going to actually highlight it and retype it again. No, business. Okay, I think I know what it is. So business knowledge is not in capital letter. The K is not in capital letter, but small letter. So we just have to know that the capital letter is the uppercase and the lowercase is very important. It's something we have to really understand while doing this, else you would fall a victim of like What is happening? Why is it not working? Let us try to see what it is right now. That solves the problem. After we have gotten to this step, the next thing right now is to actually change the data type to what? To percentage. So this will give us something just like this. It is getting more interesting. So now we are done from here. The next thing right now is to actually load this down to Power BI environment. I'm going to click on Home, and from there I'm going to click on Close and Apply. So this is actually the kind of data that could actually be useful when it comes to visualization to create something that looks. Now we're going to start up with this particular part right here. So where we have our tools, some kind of analyzed and create chart with. So how do we create this kind of chart? It's very simple and easy. Let's do that. So we're here. All we have to do is just to keep our measures organized and just click on Insert, just enter data. So rename this part to anything you want and actually click on Load. So now we have it. So here is it. So you can actually open it. So what you can see is just, column. So there is nothing meaningful right here. So by actually right clicking, you're going to see all this. So what we want now is to create a new measure. And our first measure is going to be we're creating a 100% measure that we're going to use for the kind of chart we want to create. So I'm going to actually say 100% rating. 100. Okay, let's just type full percentage. So it's going to be equal to 1. 1 means what? 1 means 100%. So you don't have to put 100% with its dollar sign before you've done that. So right here is not going to work. So if you want to use 100%, all you have to do is just for you to just type in 1 and hit your enter key, or you can actually check it right here. And once you've done that, even though if you're not going to use it on the chart, you can actually quickly turn it to a percentage. So this will definitely give you 100%. So if you want to prove it right, just put it on a card and see what it is that it gives you. So here we have 100%. So we're going to need to use this 100% and see what it is. So the next thing is for we to insert another, measure. So before we do any other thing, I'm going to come right to my, personal information right here. And I'll bring in what I call the descriptor. And I want to have that on this particular table. So bringing in my descriptor, I want to go right here, and I'm going to put in let's say category. I'm going to put category right here, and what I just want to see are the tools I actually have linked. So if you can see it right here we have the tools. So the next thing I'm going to actually add to this particular table, let me just give you a full this. Okay, now it's for me to add the ratings right here. So now we have the ratings. It's not showing up in percentage because we have not formatted it as a percentage right in Power BI. So I'm just going to come here right now and actually make sure I format it into a percentage. I think I've entered it second time. So I want to take this one off. So now it has been formatted. Okay, it has been formatted in percentage. So you can decide to take off this particular extra decimal by actually adding 0 to where you have, auto. So now this is what we have. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I rank it from the highest to the lowest. So I now get to know which one is actually the highest: Excel, Power BI, WordPress, Power BI Service, SQL, Premiere Pro, and as well Tableau. So this is how I'm going to follow it to create the measures I'm going to create. So now that we've known all about this, so we can actually minimize this, right? And make sure we have it somewhere around here, just to get to know what it is that we have to get into. So for that, right now, I'm going to have to close this. So once I've gotten that closed, I'm going to come right here and create my first measure. And now I'm going to insert a new measure for now. So we name this one Excel ratings. Excel ratings. In Excel rating, we're going to use calculate function. So I'm going to say calculate. And inside calculate, I'm going to use the sum function. So what am I going to do with the sum function? In the sum function, I want to sum this particular column where it says, tools and skills rating. You understand? So I'm going to sum that. So it's actually going to be looking for the column, and the column is actually a tool. And you can see right here, this was a custom column we created when we were in Power BI, Power BI, sorry, in Power Query rather. So now we've just aggregated this with the sum function. So I'm going to have to close this. So remember, we use the calculate function. The reason why we use the calculate function before the sum function was because we want to branch out from the overall, percentage, which is overall percentage we have right here. All we want is just to extract the percentage of Excel. So for that, I'm going to add my comma here. So Shift Enter. I'm going to actually use a function called filter. So what filter needs is actually the table, which is the table where this particular, tools and skill rating is sitting. So if you look at it, it's actually sitting on personal info right here. So I'm just going to give it personal info, and here is the table. You need it. And with my comma, it's asking me for the expression. So the expression right now is going to be this descriptor, because this is where I want to some kind of extract Excel, Power BI, Desktop, and all this right from. So I'm going to actually pass in Excel. Once it passes in Excel, I'm going to actually type in descriptor. So once you type in descriptor, so here we have it. In the table, we have a descriptor to bring the table right in. And inside the table, we have a column named descriptor, just like what we have right here right now. So once we've just gotten this, I'm going to say where it is equal to double quotation. I'm going to type in what I want, which is Excel. I'm going to hit enter. And that is all I need to do. Shift down arrow. I'm going to have to close this. And now that closes my filter for me. So now we've not closed our, our calculate function. Shift enter. And now we close the calculate function. So that does the magic. So if you want to bring this down, you can. So shift, now enter. So this gives you, what you want. So now we've just gotten this calculated. The next thing we can check here and see what it is and how we can actually get to use this to create the kind of chart we want to create. So now we've just gotten this created. Let us test it out on this and see. If I pull it right here, take this off, and bring this right here. So it gives me what I want. So I need to actually get this formatted into a percentage with this. So now I've taken the extra decimal out of it. So it's giving me 80%. So this 80% is what we have right here. So now to create the kind of chart we want to create right now, so we will need to actually, so select this particular 100% stacked bar chart. So make sure you have this selected and select this. So this gives you something like this. So it doesn't really look well. If you look at the previous one, it has, this is not up to 100%. It's actually on 80%. So the remaining percentage, that is almost 18. So we want to actually add it up to this so that we can actually see how the bar progressed. So how do we create that? It's very simple and easy. So all we have to do is to come back right here and insert a new measure. So all right, here we go. We're going to have to rename this one to Excel left percentage. So how do we create this? I'm going to put on my equal to right here, and with my square bracket, it will give me all the measures I've created. So now here we created this one called full percentage, and you always know my full percentage, what I created, it gives me 100%, and it's higher than 80 something percent we have right here, 82% we have right here. So I'm going to subtract this particular 100% from 82% that is actually for Excel. So with my square bracket again, which is going to be Excel ratings. So I'm going to hit my enter key. So I hope this is very clear to you right now. So what we did right here when we created this particular full percentage was to pass in just one and formatted it as a percentage, and it gave us 100%. So this 100% has nothing to do with this data. So we want to use this to create the kind of bar we want to create. So we now got to this particular part right here where we have this created to only filter out, Excel from the whole, table. So after we have done that, so we actually went ahead to say, okay, now we want to some kind of get to know what is going to be left if we take off 100% from what it is that we have right here. So right now I'm going to click on this. Then I'm going to actually, click on this, and this gives me this. Do you get it? So it is time for we to format this nicely. So what do we do to get it formatted? So we just have to come right here, and we turn off the whole axis. So it's now 100% to this particular part from 0 to 100%. So I'm going to turn this off. We don't need this axis. We don't need this axis. But when we did this on the x-axis, the title still remains. So which means we have to turn it on again and go all the way back and go ahead and turn off the title first before we definitely turn this off totally. That is beautiful. So the next thing again we need to do is to turn off the legend. We don't need any of this. So I'm going to open this place up and turn off the title. Then we come right here, we turn off the background for it. This is beautiful, right? So I'm going to come here once again. And now we're not really settled for the color yet. So we're going to have to do the color, in later time. So, but I'm going to come right here now and choose to see which of the color I want to use for the one that is left. So clicking on this right now, I will definitely use something like this. So can you see what I've done? So I can actually make it as small as I want, something like this. So this is what we have done. So the next thing again is to create for the remaining part of it is very simple and easy. All we have to do right now is to click on this particular, Excel rating. So once we click on Excel rating, we don't have to create it from the scratch. So all we need to do right now is just to make sure we copy with Ctrl+C. We have just copied it. And I'm going to insert a new measure right here. And inside this new measure, all I need to do is to paste this right here. I believe you have understood how we got this created. So it's very simple and easy. So just go ahead and create the same thing and actually, recycle through the DAX code. So the second one is actually this right here, which is 70%. That is going to be my Power BI desktop. So now once you've typed that in, so you're going to come right here to actually choose this particular one. And there's going to be Power BI Desktop. So I just want to make it short so you should understand what it is. So Power BI Desktop, that is what I've just gotten right here. And once you're done with that, you can actually click on OK. And the next thing again is for you to actually make sure you format this one into a percentage. And if need be, you remove the extra decimal out of it because it doesn't really make sense to have it right in. So once you're done with this, so we have just created for this. And the next thing again is for you to actually go for the left. So you can actually copy from here. If you're lazy like me, you can be lazy like me though. So I'm going to create a new measure right now and paste this one right in. So all I'm going to change is this particular part right here. I want to give it the same name, which is PBID. So Power BI Desktop, and I'm going to come right to this particular ending. Take this off, open my square bracket, and now I have the the PBID ratings right here. So I subtract it, that gives me the left out of 100% when we take off 70% from it. So what do we have left? So I'm going to come right here and check this. So now you can see what I've done to actually replicate this again. So now we have to have this right inside here. So what I'm going to do next is for me to just some kind of, highlight this. Many of it that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we have 7 of it. I'm going to move this up a little bit. So I'm going to have to go ahead and, copy this right here and paste it for like 7 good times. Once I've done that, I can definitely, start to, let's do this. I'm going to paste this one more. This is the third one. Paste this again. Yeah, the fourth one right here. You move it down. Then this is the fifth one. I'm going to move this down. And here is the sixth one. I will have to move it down as well. Then let's say this is the sixth one. I'm going to have the sixth one to be at the top right here. So we're going to still arrange things after all. So now we've gotten this particular 7 of it. So if presumably you have it just to look some kind of weird, just like this, so they are not really organized. So all you have to do is just to highlight all of them together and go to format. And from format, you will now see where we have align. And what you need to do right now is, how do you want to align it? If you want to push it to the right hand corner, you actually click on align right. If you want to align them to the left hand corner, you actually use the left align, and it actually, align it for you like this. And you can distribute horizontally or vertically. So it depends on what you really want. So I've just used vertical aspect of it. So it gives me equal spacing for each one of them. That is beautiful. So after I might have done with that, the next thing right now is for you to click on this right here and make a change of it. So I'm going to take all this down. So now I'm going to start up with my Power BI desktop rating. That gives me 70%. The 70% will almost fill the whole of it. And now I'm going to come right here and take off this particular left percentage. And that gives me this. It subtracts, from it. So now we can just quickly, do our formatting by clicking on this particular, the bars. So we scroll down a little bit and we change this particular part to this color right here. So can you see what it is right now? So we're making progress. Now you know what it is to do when you want to actually create any of this and actually even replicate it by, recycling through this copy and. So behind the scene, I have created all other measures that, we have like SQL and others. So all we just did was to recycle through the previous decks. So, and after that, we actually, get to fill this up. So let me show you something you need to know importantly right here. So if you just select any of it when you're trying to actually, fill the other part of the bars, it's for you to some kind of move this off. So what you will definitely have next right inside here is Tableau Dexter. For Tableau Desktop, you go to where you have your Tableau Desktop right in. That is going to be, this one's right here. So let me make you see it better. Now, if you look at it right now, we have Tableau Desktop rating and Tableau Desktop, rating percentage left. If I select percentage left last and I select this one, it gives me the opposite of what I want. Can you see what I'm talking about? So now it's actually telling me that this particular Tableau is higher than any of this, which is actually not, because Tableau only has 10% and the 10% is right here. So the 10% ought to be here while those bars would take this particular color. So what we have done right now is wrong. So I'm going to take it back again. So we've taken it off. So we have to fill in the Tableau percentage rating first. Then after we might have done this, we'll now bring in the percentage left. And that will definitely create something like this for us. So you have to always understand this. So we made it to start from the, let me just take this back a little bit. So we started from the highest, and as we keep going down, it kept decreasing down to the last one and something like that. So let's see if we can actually give it the same thing by just going with some kind of copy the previous formatting. It doesn't really work, so which means we have to come right here and actually change it manually to something like this that we've selected previously before now, and you quickly select this and do the same thing to it. So this is what you're going to do to all of them in order for you to have it changed. So this is not the color we're going to be using. So once you're done with our dashboard, we'll now actually do, formatting in one single time. All right, so now you've known how to create something like this. Let us progress into the next one. Now there is no way anybody could identify which an what is this. So what we need to do right now is to actually add the names we have on the descriptor. To do that, all we have to do is just to click on this particular text box. I'm going to move it a little bit down to where we can see it better. So I'm going to click on this Excel. So Excel, so we have to change the formatting for it. So in order to actually make the formatting to reflect on it, so you have to Ctrl A to highlight it. I'm going to come right here and use something like 14. Then I'll select the kind of font I want. So I want this particular Comic Sans MLs. So now I have it. So I will definitely make sure I take it to where it should be. So you can always select center or you leave it the way it is. So I think I prefer something like this. Just play around with it until you get what you want, something like this. So I want to take it up to this particular part right here. So if you see what I've done now, it's some kind of covering the bars. So what I'm going to do next is for me to come right to this particular effect and make sure I turn off the background for it. Beautiful, right? So I want to make sure I send it to back. If I need to, I'll send it to background to be in the front of it. I'll just go right here and select this. I will say send to back. So now it's going to stay behind this particular one right here. So once I'm done with this, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to make sure I still some kind of click on it. So now it's actually behind this. We can't do select it. So we have to come back right here once again and just say now for this one, send it to back while the Excel come to front. Then we can easily select it and actually replicate, what we have done by saying copy and paste. And I'm going to move it individually for either of these right here and do that to every one of it. So now we have copied it for every one of it. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we select this one. So stretch it a little bit because what we're going to type in right here is a bit beyond what we have here. So now it's going to be my Power BI desktop. So you do that to this one as well. So this is how the end result looks like. I told you, don't worry, the formatting will be done. So we followed every single, descriptor here and added it up right here. Excel is higher, Power BI Desktop is next, then WordPress, as you can see, it goes accordingly. So do the same thing, you will definitely end up having something like this. Can you see what we have right here? So we are actually right on it. So let me get this off so that we can actually start from the scratch to create the chart we want to create right here to show our skills. So I want to use this particular, stacked bar chart here. So I'm going to drag it and have it right to this part. So make sure it comes down a little bit. So I'm going to extend it up to this level. So now in this particular part of it, so I want to select my, tool, and I'm going to select my descriptors. So it gives me everything, both skills, tools, language, and, interest. So I don't really want it. So what I want now is for me to get my skills. So I'm going to open this place up. Then I'm going to pass in my category right into this particular part. So you know what it is. So this actually one here is for visual, while this one is the one after it is actually, let me scroll down a little bit. So if you put it right here, it's going to be on this particular part. It's going to be on this page. So it's going to actually affect this one. And if I have it right here, it will affect all the subsequent pages I'm going to actually create. So I just want the effect to be on this very visual right here. So all I need to do right now is just for me to some kind of select skill. Then that is all. So what have I just done? I just say, okay, now I said I have a skill of this rate in Excel. Where does it fall? Sorry, I have linked this tool. Where does this tool fall? It falls to data visualization and data analysis. Power BI, data visualization and data analysis and all of that. That was what I've done. Like video editing right now falls under Adobe Premiere Pro, which is actually the lowest one. And right here is even low, just 11% if I'm not mistaken. Okay, what is next for me to do is just for me to come right here and actually go to the x-axis to turn off the title for it. And actually come right here and turn it off totally. Then come here, what I need to do, the title, and have this the way it is. So we can just go ahead and change this to something like this to look very much bold. And I can actually extend it to this level. Then we can see it better. So we just have to take off so come here. I'm going to take off the title. So beautifully done. So we can just extend it for now. For the time being, I just want to leave it this way. So next is for me to get this one, some kind of copy. I'm going to paste it down right here. So I'm going to let it be here. So for now, we just open this place up. We want to change things from skill. We want to go to, language. So we go to language. So we've just created for language. So we can make it smaller and allow it to sit here for now. So I'm going to make sure this one moves a bit. Nicely done. So we just have to make sure this one is like this. So I'm going to have to reduce it a bit. So we just copy the same thing and paste it down. Then we have to move this right away from there and change the way the chart is going to look after all. So I'm going to select this one here and I'll select my interest. So I have interest in technology. So I have interest in reading and in gaming. So what I want to do right now is to swap it. I want to have this one here. So I want to choose a different chart, which is going to be this chart. So here we go. So I can now move this one away from there down to this particular part. So this gives me everything I really want to have. So now we have just done this. If I go to the previous one, this is what you see. So it is time for you to visit our PowerPoint where we can create a custom template that will definitely make our dashboard to look beautiful, just like this. So we are leaving this particular, should I call it default or ordinary? I don't know. So we're just leaving this kind of view now to more advanced view. So what we can do is just to click right here and insert a PowerPoint just like this. And if I click right here, let's see what we have. So here is the previous. All right, if you have just launched your PowerPoint, so all you have to do is to insert a blank one. Let us actually, start from here. I'm going to insert a blank one here. I'm going to say new slide. So in your own case, you will definitely see something as default as this. You don't have this because already I've gotten this created. That was why we have it. So all we have to do for the first time is just to get this off from here. So we are starting from this something like this blank one, right? To start with, I'm going to right click and go to format background right here. So I can actually decide to move this away. So it's my choice. So I can have it right here. So click right here and go to more colors. Now go to custom. So come right here and take off this. So all I want right now is to some kind of change what we have inside it. So I'm going to actually use, F2, F2, F2. Something like this would be cool. So if I go ahead and click on OK right now, so you can see it changes a little bit. So you won't see the effect, but definitely it changes from pure white to this particular kind of, main, dim white like this. So we've gotten this done. The next thing for we to do again is to come right to the top level here and definitely go right here and pick up this particular rectangle, drag it down. So now we're going to have to fit it right to this part. So we want to change the height to 1.14. So 1.18 is what it is right now. So we just change it to 1.14. So that is how we want the height to be. So we can now extend it from there down to this particular aspect. That is cool, right? So next is for we to some kind of change the color we have right on it. So make sure you click on it and come right here, go to more colors And inside here, we have to change what we have inside it. So remove it and let us have the hash. So I'm going to type in 333 of 50. Then let's see what we have. This is the color it's going to give to us. So if I deselect right now, it has outline. So the outline won't distort what I'm doing. So I'm going to come down and just go to line and actually say no line. So next again is for me to some kind of go back here and just some kind of get in the rectangle again. So I'm going to drag it down. So this one is going to be right here. Let us see what is going to be the height and the width. Now for we to get the height and the width is for we to come right here. And now we come down to this particular part right here. So it's going to be 7.05 and it's going to be here. It's going to be 3.33. So we hit our enter key and this is what we have. So I can just go ahead and actually make sure this one is looking just like this. Can you see what it is? So I'm going to select this and use the gradient fill. This is what we have. So the gradient fill is what we've just used. Just because we're actually creating it on top of the previous one, you're going to have this as the default because we've actually pre-formatted it. So I'm going to actually just make sure it doesn't look like what we have pre-formatted before. So let's say it looks just weird as this, so we can, start to create and get what we want ourselves. So if you actually create and get something like this, it is time to make it the way you really want. So now we have how many stops? We have 3 stops. I want to take off 1 stop out of the 3. So it looks just like this. On this particular first one right here, which is the color that is coming from the top downward, I want to use white for it. So I can select a white color. It looks like this. So for this particular color right here, I want to use the same color we have used right here, which is going to be this very one here. So this is the one, the second one like this. So we've used that. This is how it looks. It looks some kind of hinting into this because we've used the same color. And now for it to make sure this particular color stood up a little bit, from the background itself, we want to go right here and go to shadow and come right here and select this one right, which is offset top. So the offset top looks very much okay. So if we don't like the way the opacity is liked, you can always come right here and reduce the opacity a little bit. So I have it on 88%. And this gives you something like this. So going to the previous one, can you see what we've got right now? So on the previous one, I have this right here. I'm going to have to copy it and show you what I'm talking about. So it's actually, something from my my portfolio I've copied just to make sure it looks like a design, So I just use this one to actually make it serve as a cover, photo. So I can actually make sure I fix it right here and resize it to look just like this, like a cover photo, right? So nicely done. So next again is for we to go back here and click these particular shapes and take up a circle and drag a circle right in here. So once you just drag a circle, it's going to look like an oven or like an egg. So that was because you just dragged it, right? So going back again, you click on this particular shapes and you pick up the circle. So before you definitely do anything, make sure you hold your shift key down on your keyboard. So once you have hit your shift key down, so start dragging it. So no matter what you do, it's going to look just like a normal circle like this. So we've gotten something like this. That is nice. So if you look at it right here, we have this particular part that we have a part that we cut off from it. So that is exactly what we want to do right now. So how do we get it done? So I want to go back here and actually come here and say no fill. And all I have right now is just a line. So you can actually make the line to look some kind of something like this. So once we have our line to look something like this, our circle to look something like this, it's going to be at the top right here. So before then, what we can do now is to go back to insert and we can actually get something like this. So drag it down and bring it up here and just change it. I want to do something like this. So now it is time for we to play around with how we can subtract this one from here. So if I actually hold my Ctrl key and select this one plus it, so go to this particular shape format and you can see where we have the merge shapes. So you can check different one of it and see which one is going to be cool for you. So none of it actually worked actually. So the reason being was because we selected this particular one for the first time. All we have to do is to select this one and now select this one we want to use to subtract from it. Then go to shape and come back here and go to intersect. So it creates something like this for you. You get it? So now we have to change the color. I'm going to select this particular color we have right here. So in case you want to know what color is it, so go to this particular more colors and come right here. You can see the hex code is actually CB1C8D. Or you can type in these particular numbers for your RGB, wherever. So I'm going to cancel out. It looks just like this. It might look some kind of weird, right? No problem. If you call it that, you're correct. So now we don't really like the way it looks. We want to change the look, right? And how do we do that? That means we have to use gradient fill. So for we to use gradient fill, click on it and here we go. Sorry, we're gonna say no. So we have to go to the line. So under the line, so we can choose this. So now I'm gonna take off this stop away from it. So I have 3 stops. You get it? So it is time for we to stop playing with our gradient fill. So if we definitely come here, now we can choose this color. Then we can come right here and choose this same color for it. So now I'm going to come to this particular part right here and see how I can actually make sure we have something like this that look just like this. Can you see what it is right now? You can change the angle of it and you can start playing around with how the angle looks like. So now can you see we've actually used this one to play around with the angle. So area of it to switch and see how the angle should look like. This was what I've done. So if I'm actually satisfied with what I've gotten right now, I can just deselect it and come back right here right now. Go to shape, take a circle, and just hold your shift key down and drag in a circle. I'm going to actually place the circle right here until I have the circle to fill it in. So hold your shift key to drag it a little bit. So fill the circle right here. I think I'm very much satiated with what I have right in here. No fill. If I want to do that, I'm just going to put the fill right in. Or you can just... So I want to fill this one with this color here. Like this. Or something like this. So it depends on the color of what. I'm going to fill the line as well. So that it can cover up. So fill the line with the same thing. So go to the line color and fill the line color with something like this as well. So now once I'm done with this, I can actually go ahead and some kind of move it right here. Just like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is just for me to go right to this particular part, go to the same place and take up a circle and actually, get something like this. So I can just move it and have it right here. So if you look at this, this is how I just got this one created. So I want to come back again, click on it, and inside it, I want to make it white. So I'll go back down, and this one right here, I have to increase it until I have the size I really want. Let's say I want to go with something like this. I'm going to change it and it's going to look just like this, or look something darker that looks like this. So it's my choice, depends on what I want to use right on that. So if I feel like using something like this, that is so cool. So you can always try as much as you could to play around with this to see what size you really want. So from there, I'm going to actually have to duplicate it and bring this one down right here. So it creates something like this from our image. So right now it is time to bring in our image to see how we can actually add image to it if you want to do that. So all we have to do is to come right here and go to pictures and click on this, our device. So now we have to locate where we have our image right in. So here is the image I want to use. I can double click on it. And now I have my image right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to see how I can actually crop this. So go to picture format and now click on what? Click on crop picture. So I can actually resize this picture to look just the way I want it to look like. Okay, let's see. I'm very much satisfied with what I have right now. I can deselect. And now clicking back on it again is for me to click on picture format. And I'm going to open this place up. I will now choose something that looks just like this. So it is time for me to resize this to fit into what I want. You can just, don't touch this, it's going to distort it. Can you see? It's going to distort it. So Ctrl Z to bring it back. So instead, you have to just play around with it and have it right where you want to have it right in. So can you see what we've gotten now? So it looks just like, you know, what it is. It blends into it so much and I love it this way. So what do we have to do next? So next is for we to export this into our Power BI, our desktop and see how it's going to look like on the one we've created. So I'm going to actually come to this particular file. So I'll come to export. So under export, you go to change file type. So you can see, PNG, we see JPEG, whatever it is. So if you don't want any of these particular extensions we have right here, you can actually double click on this particular save as another file type. So it's going to take you to the side where you can actually decide what you want. So if you want to use something like GIF, so you select it and this is what you have. So you can name it like, template. Okay, let's say templates. We don't want to use template. I'm going to use custom templates. Then we'll know the name we use and we can always, go ahead and pick it up. So when I say just this one, and that is all. So now it is time for you to go back to our Power BI Dexter. And here we are. So once you click on this particular part right here, you have to use canvas background. So just go ahead and get it by using the browse feature. So we just want to locate where we have the custom template right in. So if I double click it, this is what we have. So it doesn't really show up. Why is that happening? It was because we have it on 100%. I have to reduce it to 0% and it reflects just like this. So can you see what we have? Nicely done. So if you can see now, this does not sit well with what we want. So we have to actually get it and move it one after the other. So all I have to do right now is to make sure I group this. So I want to go right here. And you can see where we have group. I'm going to group it. So I can group one of them after the other so that it can actually be very easy for me to some kind of create what I want and adjust it the way I want it. Just highlight it one after the other so you can actually have it grouped. So now I have grouped all of them together. If I now click on it right now, it actually, I get to use the group. So I can just manually, bring it down a little bit and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do right now is just to do that to every one of them. And you can just kind of move it down a bit and make sure it is close to this one, just like the way it is right now. So select this one and bring it down because I want to create space to the top one like this. So if you look at what I'm doing, this is beautiful. So don't double click else it's going to actually, open the group for you. So something like this would be cool. So don't worry, we're going to have to do some adjustment after all. So do the same thing to this one as well. And come right here and select this and bring it down. So if you look at it, this is awesome. So you just have to move it down. After I might have done this, the next thing you're going to do right now is to make sure you highlight all of them. So go to format and from format, go to align and just say, distribute vertically. that will definitely fix everything for you. So now you now have equal space on every one of them, right? So don't worry, if you want to click on either of them, you're still free to click on it. Now, if I double click on this right now, it activates this for me and I can be able to do anything and actually color it right here. So this is one part of it. So it is time for, so before we come back for the final touch of those particular, charts right here, let us head back to our Power BI, our PowerPoint right here. If you look at the PowerPoint, we have this particular part of it that is actually, for template and as well for, education, right? So this is what we want now. So what I've done right here was to actually import, most of the dashboard I have actually worked on in this course to actually set an example for you on how you can actually get things done like this. So once you have actually gotten this done, so let me show you what I'm talking about right here. So I'm gonna go right insert. Let me show you an example. This device, and I want to go to desktop. I'm gonna click on Power BI. So I want to scroll down. Okay, let's go to where we have resume dashboard. So on the resume dashboard, we have lots of images right here. So if I select this, okay, let me select this one here. I want to go ahead and hold my Ctrl key to select which one I want again. I'm going to select this one. So I take the three of them. I'm going to just make sure they both come in. So we have to reduce them a bit. So now we should actually get this one away for now. We don't need it yet. So we can even resize it from here. So we just have to make sure we do it 1.25 by 2.16. So 2.16. So now here we go. So I can just take this one and have it right at this particular spot. I'm going to have this one right here. So I'm going to have this one to stay right in here, which is cool, right? So once I've done this, so I have space for something else. So let us close the gap a bit. I can just, use my shift key to actually move it. So we want to have equal spacing for, three of them. So hold it and always use this where we have align vertically. So, and now we just have to align horizontally. So it gives us equal spacing, right? That is beautiful. So the next thing again is for we to some kind of like select three of them. And once we right click, you can see where we have the object formatting. So what I want to do right now is to actually add a shadow. Now this particular, offset top is what I want to add right now. So it makes my image to actually, pop out from the background itself. I love it this way. So now that we've gotten this, I'm going to move this away from here and go to insert. I am going to insert a shape, and that is going to be this particular rectangle shape. And I'm going to just make sure I bring it up to this level. Just going to move it a bit to the top. Something like this would be cool for me. So just get it down a little bit. So here we're going to have to change the color to something like this. We have to remove this from it. And inside here is where we're going to have to type in what it is that these particular, images are. So I'm going to type in portfolio. So portfolio in there. So we quickly change how it looks. So let us go with something like this, but not with this color. We want to use this color. So we can just play around with it. So I want to use something like loose. So I'm going to bring it up to this level here. Here we go. So I think it's too much. I would rather use the normal one. Something like this would be cool for me. So let us go with this. So if need be, we can reduce the text we have right in it. So we just have to spend some time to play around with what we have right here until we are very much satisfied with what we want. So we've gotten this done. So the next one again is for me to some kind of just duplicate this and just copy it for this particular part. So I'll have to resize it. So if you want to do that quickly, you can just reduce it from here. Now reducing the width of it. So now here we've gotten the width reduced. So what we need now is just for it to copy this and just have this right here. And what I want to type in right now is education. So beautiful. So we've gotten this done. For education, we have some icons, which I'm going to actually have for you right here. I'm going to copy those icons away from here to be used. So those are the courses I've taken and my first degree, as well. So I just want to have it right here. So we can actually adjust things the way it should be right in here. Just like that, just adjust things, make sure you have things adjusted. Or still, I can just go ahead and push this inside of it. So if I want to come back here, this one was not selected actually. I just want to, so we have to repaste again. So we have something like this. So which shows that we have to hold this and this and actually make sure we move it away a little bit to create space for it. So once we have just done that and we are very much satiated, the next thing we have to do is to click on this and hold them together. And actually, okay, we have to move it a bit away and make sure it's kind of this way. And now we have to click on this and just go right here and increase it to cover up. Oh, that was the wrong one. So now we just have to click on this. So you can see how I actually take my time to get what I want. Something like this to be perfect, right? So now we have to make sure we just make sure it's of the same. It's okay, whatever. So we've gotten this. We are not really satisfied with what we have yet, but we have to take this to our Power BI. Export. I can export so many times, like seriously, so many times. I change this GIF, and here we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, just this one. So I'll go back again to my Power BI, and I have to change the template I have right here right now. So I'm going to click on this particular canvas background, double click right here and pick it up from here. So we have a new one, right? Nicely done.